Chapter 1985. Xiao Yi had sent several batches of assassins to Deer Town in the past few days. However, there was no news of any of them after they went to Deer Town, as if they had evaporated into thin air. Uncle Qiao, I think Lu Holdings is prepared. Only 2 of the batches of assassins that were sent to Deer Town escaped. They said they saw White Tiger in Deer Town. Feng Jin said thoughtfully. White Tiger? Xiao Yi was puzzled. Could it be that the previous batches of assassins had been killed by White Tiger? Uncle Qiao, I think we can get Europe's forces to take action, Feng Jin said. Hearing this, Xiao Yi shook his head. If they couldn't even handle such a small matter, it wouldn't be appropriate to get Europe's forces to send assassins. Send a few more batches of assassins to Deer Town. Xiao Yi's eyes flashed coldly. If it still didn't work this time, he would do it himself. No matter what, he had to get rid of Lu Tingxiao and his men. For the past few days, Han Xiao had been sitting in the garden building in Deer Town, and had easily taken care of all the assassins. Tang Lang just sat on the sofa and ate watermelon every day, watching the reckless assassins come to their deaths, and then doing some cleaning work. It was quite relaxing. Kid, come and play. Han Xiao yawned lazily and stared at Tang Lang, who was eating watermelon. Grandpa, don't say that. Are you eating watermelon? Tang Lang gave Han Xiao a piece of watermelon with a flattering expression. Eat. Han Xiao nodded and ate the watermelon Tang Lang handed him. Ever since the last time, Tang Lang was no longer willing to practice with Han Xiao. As a human, how could he last even half a move against a monster? It was enough to try it once. Only a fool would be willing to try it a second time. Someone broke through the blockade of Deer Town. In the middle of the night, Ningxi appeared in the hall and reminded him. Great God, there's someone who doesn't give you face again. He clearly knows that you're here, but he still comes here to cause trouble every other day. I don't know what you're thinking, but if there's someone who doesn't give me face, I'll definitely chop him into pieces. Tang Lang looked at Han Xiao and laughed. Han Xiao crossed his legs, as if he didn't hear Tang Lang. A moment later, Han Xiao picked up a piece of watermelon and said as he ate, You guys go out and cool off. There's air conditioning in the house, it's cooler than outside. Tang Lang subconsciously said. As soon as he finished speaking, Tang Lang's expression changed. This time he was afraid that there were quite a few assassins. If a gunfight broke out, it would be terrible. He and Ningxi weren't monsters. What if they got shot? What would happen? Grandpa is right. It's cooler outside. Tang Lang pulled Ningxi and left the flower house. An hour later, gunshots could be heard from the small building. After another quarter of an hour, when the gunshots completely disappeared, Ningxi and Tang Lang returned to the garden house. Han Xiao was still lying on the sofa, gnawing on a watermelon. Inside and outside the hall, there were corpses everywhere. Upon seeing Tang Lang, Han Xiao shot a glance at him. Grandpa, I understand. Tang Lang smiled flatteringly. Like a diligent little bee, he moved the corpse out of the small building in the garden, and cleaned it up. Great God, please help me, Ningxi stared at Han Xiao with starry eyes. I don't lack pendants, Han Xiao said. Without waiting for Ningxi to speak, Han Xiao threw the watermelon skin into the trash can and asked Ningxi, I say, when can I leave? Ningxi's face was full of a subtle smile as she stared at Han Xiao. He was already here, and he still wanted to leave? How could it be so easy, when no assassins dared to come? Ningxi said with a smile. Han Xiao sighed, his heart full of resentment. He finally became a nanny, on account of the good food here. Chapter 1986. Han Xiao wanted to leave a few times, but Ningxi tempted him with delicious food. To Ningxi, this god could be settled with a few good dishes. If he thought it was too troublesome, he could order a luxurious family bucket to save him the effort of cooking. Little baby, be careful. The next day, Ningxi held a bag of raw beef in her hand and teased the white tiger in the hall. The white tiger stood up in an instant, full of energy. It shook its snow-white tail, and walked towards Ningxi. Hold my paw, Ningxi tempted. The white tiger tilted its head and stared at Ningxi adorably. This is not bad. Ningxi was about to feed the white tiger when Han Xiao suddenly appeared, and snatched the bags of imported beef beside Ningxi. God, this is the white tiger's food, and it's raw. Ningxi did not know whether to laugh or cry. Kid. Han Xiao raised his hand and threw the beef to Tang Lang, who was not far away. Okay, Grandpa, wait for me. Tang Lang eagerly ran to the kitchen and quickly fried the beef. Damn. You two. Ningxi looked at Han Xiao and then at Tang Lang. These two people were simply in cahoots with each other. Especially Tang Lang. Motherfucker, he actually cooked for Han Xiao. Cooked for him. He suddenly felt as if his senior brother had been cheated on. It's disgusting. Han Xiao took a bite and immediately lost interest. At this moment, the white tiger walked in front of Han Xiao and stared at the beef in his hand. Seeing this, Han Xiao threw the beef on the ground. The white tiger shook its snow-white tail and swallowed the beef in one bite. However, the white tiger spat out the beef in 2 breaths' time. It can't be. Tang Lang untied his apron and looked a little embarrassed. Ningxi. At the same time in Deer Town, an old European man with a walking stick looked at the middle-aged black man behind him and said calmly, Yorick, did it go well? The black man was expressionless. Just some trash. It seems that the guards here are very ordinary. Don't be careless. Since the higher-ups sent us out, it's probably not that simple, the old European man said. Both of them were assassins ranked at the very top of the original Sin assassin list. The people Qiaoyi sent out are all useless. The black man known as Yorick used a piece of paper to wipe the blood off his hands. If the European emperor's power did not want to dominate Asia, why would he have taken a liking to Qiaoyi, a middleman? He can't even handle such a small matter, and still needs us to take action. What a joke. Yorick squatted down and wiped the dust off his leather shoes. It's better to be careful. We can't fail the mission. The Caucasian old man chuckled and walked toward the garden. About half an hour later, in front of the garden house, Yorick pulled out a submachine gun. Yorick, don't be so rude. We're here to visit, the old man said. Yorick shrugged and put away his submachine gun. Is anyone there? The old man knocked on the door politely. Soon Ningxi opened the door. Staring at the amiable old man in front of her, Ningxi was a little confused. Hello, please forgive me for disturbing you. The old man looked at Ningxi and smiled. You are? Ningxi asked. What do you want? Tang Lang walked over with half a piece of watermelon in his arms. Hello, may I ask if this lady is Miss Ningxi? The old European man smiled. I'm Ningxi, Ningxi said. Hello, Miss Ningxi. The old man said, Do you have any last words? As he spoke, the old European man took out a scalpel from his pocket, and the smile on his face became even more amiable. Chapter 1987. The old European man in front of her suddenly took out an extremely sharp scalpel, and Ningxi subconsciously stepped back. No matter how slow her reaction was, she knew that the Caucasian old man and the black man beside him were assassins. You're Dr. Death, one of the top 10 killers on the list. Tang Lang furrowed his brows. Young man, you know me? The Caucasian old man asked with a smile. Tang Lang sucked in a mouthful of cold air when he saw the old man admitting his identity. Dr. Death was the old man's nickname. The Caucasian old man in front of him was famous among the underground forces in Europe and America. When he was young, he was an extremely famous surgeon. Later on, the Caucasian old man used his scalpel to cut off the heads of his wife and daughter. He was a complete pervert. Since then, he became an assassin, and the outside world gave him the nickname of Dr. Death. Tang Lang's heart skipped a beat. Since this old European man was Dr. Death, the black man next to him should be his partner, Yorick, who was ranked 7th on the Cardinal Sin Killer leaderboard, and also known as the germaphobe. To be able to get 2 of the top 10 killers on the list to come to China to assassinate him, he must be from Europe's side. Do the 2 of you have any last words? If not, we can start now. Dr. Death smiled. At this moment, Tang Lang widened his eyes and shouted, Grandpa, someone didn't give you face and came to challenge us. Soon, Han Xiao walked toward the door with a chicken drumstick in his hand. Wearing Ningxi's slippers, Han Xiao's mouth was full of grease. Old thing, don't run if you have the guts. My grandpa is here, just you wait. Tang Lang's serious face finally disappeared when he saw Han Xiao walking toward him in slippers. He began to eat the remaining watermelon in his hand. Who is it? Han Xiao walked toward Ningxi. It's this old black man and this old fart. As Tang Lang ate the watermelon, he pointed at Dr. Death and Yorick, the misophobic ripper. Who are you? Han Xiao took a piece of watermelon from Tang Lang's hand and asked while eating. Ningxi was completely speechless when she saw Tang Lang and Han Xiao. These are the top 10 killers on the list. Can't you guys give them some face? Can't you give me some face? After seeing Han Xiao's appearance, the frenzied look in the old man's eyes instantly disappeared. Yorick, in particular, quickly put away his submachine gun. A fawning smile suddenly appeared on his originally cold face. "Oh, Master Xiao, why is it you?" Yorick's forehead was covered in cold sweat. This is the higher-ups playing some kind of international joke. No one told them that the freak Han Xiao was here. Who are you? Han Xiao asked while eating a melon. Master Xiao, look at your memory. I'm Yorick. Yorick hurriedly smiled apologetically. Oh. Han Xiao thought for a moment, but couldn't recall anything. In the past, I was blind enough to offend you. You were magnanimous and broke one of my legs. Later, my friend reattached it. Yorick looked at the old European man beside him. About 2 years ago, he and Dr. Death accepted an assassination mission and met Han Xiao on the way. In the end, he was almost beaten to death by Han Xiao. Yorick's leg was broken, and it was reattached by Dr. Death. What do you mean by pointing a scalpel at me? Han Xiao looked at the old European man. Oh. The old European man's body trembled. Then he immediately swept his chin with the scalpel. Master Xiao, don't misunderstand. I'm shaving. Chapter 1988. Sigh, I need to shave. I haven't shaved for a few days. It's uncomfortable. The old man shook his head as he moved the sharp scalpel under his chin. Your chin is bleeding. Tang Lang blinked as he ate the watermelon. Oh. It's okay, it's okay. It's just a small problem. The old man raised his hand and wiped the blood off with his sleeve. Do you want me to shave it for you? Han Xiao asked. No, no, no. The old man shook his head. Don't mention it. Han Xiao threw the watermelon skin at Yorick's face. Seeing that Yorick was in a daze, Han Xiao frowned and asked, Is there a problem? No problem at all. I don't know where the watermelon skin came from. It's just a small problem. Yorick said. Han Xiao shrugged his shoulders and took the scalpel from the old European man. Stand still and don't move. Otherwise it'll be cut. After Han Xiao finished speaking, he helped the old man shave his beard. After shaving his beard, Han Xiao did not stop. He shaved off all the hair on the old man's head, making him bald. Grandpa, why did you shave off his eyebrows? Tang Lang asked. It's cool. Han Xiao replied. Is it cool? Han Xiao asked the old European American man. Cool. It's really cool. The old man nodded, afraid that he would offend this pervert. Han Xiao was satisfied and walked to Yorick's side with the scalpel. Without any explanation, Yorick's thick beard, eyebrows, and hair were also shaved clean. Is it cool? Han Xiao looked at Yorick and asked with a smile. It's cool. Sorry to trouble you, Grandpa Xiao. I've been wanting to die for a long time. It's so comfortable. Yorick had a fawning smile on his face. Thank you. $500 each. Han Xiao stretched out his hand. Yorick and the old European man came back to their senses and quickly searched their bodies. Grandpa Xiao, I don't have any money with me. I only have 300. I only have 400. Yorick and the old man took out all the dollars they had and handed them to Han Xiao. You owe me 100. You owe me 200. Han Xiao thought for a moment and said, How about this? We'll calculate it according to the interest rate of Chinese banks. Don't forget to return it to me when the time comes. Han Xiao put the $700 into his pocket. Okay. Master Xiao, we still have something to do, so we'll take our leave first. We'll bring you the money later. Yorick pulled the old European and American man who was stunned on the spot. He wished that his parents had given him a few more legs. He almost rolled and crawled out of the small building in the garden. Brat, buy more watermelon and meat. Han Xiao threw $700 to Tang Lang. All right, Grandpa. Tang Lang nodded. Ningxi stood at the side and was completely convinced. She was completely convinced. He shaved off the eyebrows, hair, and beards of the top 10 killers on the Deadly Sins ranking board, and even extorted $700 from them. In the end, Tang Lang was asked to buy watermelon and meat. 700 USD? How much watermelon and meat would that be? Ningxi finally understood that Han Xiao was a complete idiot when it came to life. Grandpa, why did you let them go? You might as well kill them. Tang Lang put the money into his pocket and stared at Han Xiao with a smile. Kill them? Han Xiao was stunned. He stared at Tang Lang in confusion. Who are they? Hearing this, Tang Lang and Ningxi almost vomited 3 liters of blood. In the end, shaving off their hair still cost $700. In the end, Han Xiao didn't even know who they were, or what they were here for. Suddenly, Ningxi's heart ached for the 2 killers. It really wasn't easy. Chapter 1989. Xiao Yi listened to the angry voice on the other end of the line. You fucking bastard. Don't you know who's in Deer Town? How dare you ask the higher-ups to assign us a mission? Yorick was furious. I don't want to talk nonsense with you. Get someone to send $300 over. If anything happens, you'll be dead. Yorick hung up the phone after he finished speaking. Xiao Yi was completely baffled. He had no idea what Yorick was angry about. What was with the $300? Besides, this mission had been assigned to them by Lucky Emperor. What did it have to do with him? But no matter what, Xiao Yi was not an idiot. If even Dr. Death and Yorick could not be taken care of, Lu Tingxiao must have hired a master. Don't tell me, we have to use that person? Feng Jin frowned. Xiao Yi fell silent. The person Feng Jin was talking about was not well known in the world. But he was the most powerful assassin in Lucky Emperor's faction. It would not be an exaggeration to say that he was the best in the world. Xiao Yi had no choice but to contact Lucky Emperor's faction again, and ask them to send more powerful assassins. Xiao Yi, are you saying that you want us to use Xiao Zhan? A deep voice came out. If Xiao Zhan is willing to do it, everything will be fine. Xiao Yi smiled. Then you should know that Xiao Zhan was seriously injured when he tried to assassinate Han Xiao. He's still recuperating. Han Xiao. Xiao Yi was stunned when he heard Han Xiao's name. Although he had never met Han Xiao in person, Han Xiao's great name resounded like thunder in his ears. Back then, Lucky Emperor's youngest daughter had been betrothed to Han Xiao. But Han Xiao did not buy it, and eventually broke off with Lucky Emperor. Over the years, Lucky Emperor's faction had sent a large number of top assassins to assassinate Han Xiao. But none of them had returned alive. Xiao Yi had heard of Han Xiao. It was said that he was a genius from a hidden family. He was so powerful that he was beyond the comprehension of the secular world. Xiao Zhan survived? Xiao Yi asked. In Xiao Yi's mind, Han Xiao and the word invincible were equal. Most probably, only the legendary Qin Wentian would be able to fight against Han Xiao. People like them were already legendary. No matter how powerful Xiao Zhan was, he was still only at the secular level. Han Xiao almost lost his life. Unfortunately, the gloomy voice sighed. Xiao Zhan's assassination techniques could be said to be the best in the world. Even Han Xiao had nearly fallen into his trap. Xiao Zhan is indeed formidable. Xiao Yi could not help but sigh. He was only a step away from assassinating Han Xiao. This was practically a miracle. Even though he had failed at the last moment, he had at least managed to injure Han Xiao. Xiao Yi, let me tell you, Yorick called just now. Do you know who's in charge of the Lu family? The person on the other end of the line said. Who is it? Xiao Yi asked anxiously. Han Xiao. What? Xiao Yi gasped in horror. The one in Deer Town was Han Xiao. How was this possible? What relationship did Han Xiao and Lu Tingxiao have with Ningxi? Why would they help Ningxi and the others in Deer Town? Xiao Yi had no idea that Lu Tingxiao and Ningxi were acquainted with Han Xiao. That's enough. No matter how powerful an assassin is, it's useless. Do you know that even the number 1 assassin of the original sin, Li Suifeng, was easily killed by Han Xiao? No wonder Yorick and the others were complaining. Let Xiao Zhan go this time. Having said that, the person hung up without giving Xiao Yi a chance to speak. Chapter 1990. Deer Town. The night was dark, and there was no moon in the sky. On the sofa, Ningxi was covered with a blanket and nestled in Lu Tingxiao's arms. She held a game controller in her hand and was playing a game with Tang Lang. Han Xiao was squatting there eating watermelon, and the big white tiger was dozing off at his feet. These days, they were originally anxiously waiting for the assassin's sneak attacks, but in the end, it was forcibly turned into a vacation by them. She had spent so many days cuddling with Lu Tingxiao at home for nothing. It was simply too comfortable. After Han Xiao finished eating the watermelon, he threw the watermelon skin into the trash can and stared at the three people on the sofa. Then, Han Xiao stood up, walked forward, and directly turned off the game controller. "Grandpa, what are you doing? I can kill Tang Xiaoxi soon." Tang Lang complained. Ningxi was speechless. "Dream on. It was the Almighty who saved you. Go to sleep, all of you. Close the door tightly," Han Xiao said. Hearing this, Tang Lang was stunned. Ningxi and Lu Tingxiao looked at each other thoughtfully. These days, it was the first time they heard Han Xiao speak in such a tone. Perhaps the assassins tonight were not simple? "Let's go to sleep." Tang Lang was not worried at all. He was unusually confident in a certain pervert, so he directly put on his slippers and jogged all the way to the bedroom. Ningxi glanced at Lu Tingxiao, who gave her a reassuring look and held her hand as they went upstairs. Han Xiao never said anything meaningless. Since he wanted them to sleep, they could cooperate. After Ningxi and the others went upstairs and turned off the lights in the living room, Han Xiao lay on the sofa. The night was quiet until the second half of the night. A skinny man, like a ghost, appeared in the small building in the garden. The door was tightly shut. No one knew when this man came here. It was as if this thin man had been hiding in this building for a long time. "Han Xiao, you were lucky last time. Tonight you will die," the thin man muttered in his heart, his eyes emotionless. He took out a dagger from his chest, walked to the sofa, and stared at Han Xiao, who was sleeping soundly. A few days ago, the thin man went to China to assassinate Han Xiao, and almost succeeded. Tonight, no matter what, he must let Han Xiao die in his hands. The skinny man took out a dagger that glinted with a cold light from his bosom. Whoosh! Without any hesitation, he thrust the dagger toward Han Xiao's heart. At the same time, Han Xiao suddenly opened his eyes and raised his right arm. "Pa!" Han Xiao grabbed the thin man's wrist. "What?" Seeing this, the skinny man froze in place, his face filled with disbelief. "Xiaozhan, it's already so late. Is there something you need from me?" Han Xiao stared at the thin man and asked expressionlessly. "Impossible. How did you find me?" Xiaozhan's face was filled with disbelief. "Well, why do you think I let Yorick and the others go?" The corners of Han Xiao's mouth rose slightly. After Yorick and Dr. Death left, they would definitely tell the European forces that he was in Deer Town. Knowing that he was in Deer Town, Lucky Emperor's faction would definitely send Xiaozhan to assassinate him. Han Xiao had long since been on guard, so how could he possibly repeat the same mistake? The last time he was tricked by this brat, he had wanted to catch him for a long time. "Xiaozhan, your assassination skills are indeed not bad. However, even if your master sees me, he has to be polite and follow the rules. But you're so naughty." Han Xiao exerted strength in his right arm, grabbed Xiaozhan's arm, and instantly threw him out. Bang! A loud sound echoed in the small building in the garden. Continue to ask for votes. Thank you, everyone. Chapter 1991. The loud noise instantly alerted the three people upstairs. Ningxi and the others hurriedly walked out of their respective bedrooms and looked toward the hall. Whoosh! As Xiaozhan was thrown out, he kicked the wall with both feet. Unwilling to give up, he stabbed the dagger in his hand toward Han Xiao's heart. Right at this moment, Han Xiao lightly flicked his finger and tapped Xiaozhan's right wrist. Xiaozhan immediately let out a scream of agony. The dagger flew out of his hand and landed in the distance. "Xiaozhan, you were naughty last time. This time, I'll beat you to death." The corner of Han Xiao's mouth curled up slightly, forming a devilish smile. Then he grabbed Xiaozhan's neck. At this critical moment, Han Xiao turned his head and asked the three people at the staircase, "What should we do with this thing?" "Grandpa, beat this grandson to death," Tang Lang shouted. Ningxi blinked. Oh, I don't mind. Lu Tingxiao immediately echoed, agreed. Han Xiao was stunned for a moment. He stared at the three people in surprise. You guys, why are you so cruel? You kill people at the drop of a hat. Will he kill me one day when he wants to kill me as well? The moment he said that, there was a crack. Xiao Zhan's neck had been crushed by Han Xiao. Han Xiao was shocked. He stared at the dead Xiao Zhan, then at the three people upstairs. How did he die? You guys killed him? Upstairs. Tang Lang's mouth twitched. Grandpa, you killed him, right? I killed him? Are you sure? Han Xiao asked. Tang Lang's face darkened. If I'm not wrong, you killed him, Grandpa, Ningxi. I'm sure you killed him. You crushed his neck. How cruel. I didn't expect you to be such a god. I was wrong about you. Lu Tingxiao. You probably killed him. I think my hand slipped. I didn't do it on purpose. Han Xiao stared at the dead Xiao Zhan and said, Tang Lang, Ningxi, Lu Tingxiao. Ningxi glared at Han Xiao and rolled her eyes. He had seen shameless people, but he had never seen someone as shameless as Han Xiao. She clearly remembered the grudge from last time, and purposely crushed the thin man to death. Now, she was pretending to be innocent. The most shameless thing was that Han Xiao not only refused to admit that he had killed someone, but also tried to pin the blame on them, insisting that they were the ones who killed the person. They were standing on the second floor. What the hell did they use to kill people? Their thoughts. God, Han Xiao is really shameless. What do you guys think? Ningxi smiled at Tang Lang and Lu Tingxiao. Tang Lang said, Third junior sister, don't be so rude. Don't talk about my grandfather like that. Be careful that I don't fall out with you. Although my grandfather is shameless, he's invincible. My grandfather is invincible in this world, and it's not without reason. Lu Tingxiao, it's all right. I want to eat watermelon. Han Xiao didn't care about their ridicule and sat down on the sofa. Grandpa, I understand. Tang Lang dashed into the living room, took out a large iced watermelon from the fridge, and handed it to Han Xiao. After that, he dragged Xiao Zhan's corpse out. Ningxi went downstairs and cut the watermelon. With stars in her eyes, she handed the watermelon to Han Xiao. God, you deliberately let that assassin Yorick and Dr. Death go today, right? It was to lure out the guy who tried to assassinate you. Ningxi asked. Yorick. Han Xiao stared at Ningxi blankly. Who is it, Ningxi? Chapter 1992. Han Xiao yawned, then snapped his fingers in the direction of the house. The white tiger sauntered out of the house and walked to Han Xiao's side. I'm leaving. Han Xiao waved at the three of them as he walked out of the house. Ningxi froze. Ah, almighty, you're leaving? Didn't you say I could leave if no assassins dared to come? Han Xiao said with a, are you trying to screw me over again expression. Tang Lang nodded. Grandpa is right. Xiao Zhan is already a top tier. Even Xiao Zhan died here. Unless someone was crazy, they wouldn't take the job and come here to die. After spending so much time together, Ningxi felt a little lost when she suddenly had to part ways. It's so late. Why don't you have supper before you leave? Han Xiao turned back without hesitation. Okay. Ningxi was speechless. Ningxi's sorrow of parting instantly disappeared. Late at night. Sweetheart, will you be okay? Ningxi laid on the bed, unable to fall asleep. You have no confidence in me? The man's deep voice rang above her head. Ningxi pounced on him and gave him a kiss. Of course. Lu Tingxiao kissed the top of her head. Focus on your own things and take care of your body. What was left was his battlefield. After Han Xiao left, no more assassins came to Deer Town. Everything returned to normal, as if nothing had happened. Apart from that, a few days later, Deer Town gained an extremely adorable pure white tiger cub. As for the outside world, after the other party knew assassinations wouldn't work, they changed their direction. In a short period of time, the entire Asian economy and underground forces surged. Lu Tingxiao became unusually busy. And Ningxi's career returned to its peak, like the sun in the sky. Wildy, time reversal, you at your most beautiful. On the big screen in the central square with the largest flow of people in the capital, Ningxi is lying in a cluster of flowers like the Garden of Eden. Her skin is so delicate without any makeup. The dreamy scene made passers-by stop in their tracks. Damn. Ningxi's skin was so good. I heard she didn't put on any makeup when she shot the commercial. I've seen Ningxi up close. She's even more exaggerated than in the commercial. The words time reversal are too apt. I can't believe they managed to get Ningxi to be their spokesperson. I feel like Wildy is getting more and more pretentious. I've always been using bosses' families. Once I get my salary, I'm going to buy a set of Wildy to try. Wildy Company Building. You did a good job this time. In the video conference, the CEO of China praised him in a good mood. This time, not only did Wildy's products surpass SS in the Chinese market, but they also increased their sales in the United States. Parker looked at the sales figures for the latest quarter and listened to his boss's praises. He was beaming with joy. After being suppressed by the boss for so many years, he could finally wipe away his shame. It was a wise decision to replace Lu Xiaoro and choose Ningxi. Who would have thought that Ningxi's momentum would be so fierce after her comeback? She suppressed Han Zixuan to the point that she couldn't fight back, and instantly pulled up Wildy's status. One had to know that signing a rising artist was countless times more profitable than simply signing a popular artist. After Parker finished the video conference with the higher-ups, he immediately called Su Tao to get in touch with him, and invited Ningxi to Wildy's fashion dinner. Chapter 1993. Starlight Entertainment. Wang Haojuan looked at the complicated data on the computer screen and felt a splitting headache. Flourishing Age Entertainment's market share was catching up with Starshine at an alarming rate, and its stock price had been rising. As for Han Zixuan, Starlight's side was powerless to reverse the situation. As soon as he acted in Under the Heavens, Ningxi destroyed his show. Starry Night was directly slaughtered. The Hollywood blockbuster that he had painstakingly obtained became a foil for Ningxi. Even the endorsement for SS skincare product advertisement was crushed by Ningxi's endorsement of Wildy. Cheng Yibin. Lu Xiaoro. What the hell are you doing? If I remember correctly, wasn't Xiaoro supposed to be the spokesperson for Wildy? How did it become Ningxi in the end? There were so many things to do in the company. It was impossible for him to keep an eye on everything. By the time he found out, it was already too late. Not only did she lose an A-list spokesperson, but she also caused Han Zixuan to be suppressed once again. Lu Xiaoro was furious, but she didn't dare to say anything. She could only bear it with a wronged expression. Cheng Yibin wiped the sweat off his forehead and said with a flattering expression, "Xiao Wang, you really can't blame me for this. Originally, we were going to sign the contract that day. Who knew that Su Tao and Ningxi would intercept us midway? I had no choice. I guess Su Tao is taking revenge on Xiao Rou for jumping ship. This is completely caused by their personal conflict. It really has nothing to do with me." Lu Xiaoro looked at her agent in disbelief. She was so angry that she almost burst into tears. This endorsement was agreed upon before I joined the company. Why did everything go well before I joined the company? Why did everything go wrong after I joined the company? How could this be my fault? Cheng Yibin's face immediately darkened. "Xiao Rou, what do you mean by this? Are you saying that I ruined your endorsement deal?" Lu Xiaoro couldn't bear it anymore. She cried and scolded on the spot. Qin Shuang, who she had ridiculed in the past, was now promoted step by step. "Cheng Yibin, don't go too far. You know very well how you treated me after I came to Starlight. Instead of fighting for resources for me, I only know how to drink with others all day. You want me to sleep with an old man just for a stupid second-tier endorsement? What's wrong with sleeping with him? In this line of work, who didn't sleep with someone? Are you the only one who thinks highly of yourself? I asked you to sleep with me to fight for more resources for you. Alright. Both of you shut up. Look at this." After kicking out Cheng Yibin and Lu Xiaoro, who were quarreling endlessly, Wang Haojuan's headache worsened. Now he could only pin his hopes on Su Yan. In the evening, Su Yan finally arrived. Wang Haojuan quickly went to the door and welcomed him in. "Mr. Su, you're here. Please take a seat." Su Yan nodded and sat down on the sofa. "What happened?" Wang Haojuan looked embarrassed. President Su, you must know the recent situation of our company. Ningxi's comeback has a greater impact on our company. I asked you to come here to discuss with you whether there is any solution. Su Yan's eyes flickered. Since you can't suppress it, why not extend an olive branch? Wang Haojuan was surprised. President Su, do you mean to poach Ningxi? Why not? Su Yan asked. Wang Haojuan looked troubled. Ahem, President Su, you know about the entanglement between Ningxi and us. Back then, Ningxi was forced to leave by Starlight. How could she be willing to come back now? Even if Ningxi is willing, I'm afraid it won't be easy to explain to Shueluo. Chapter 1994. Don't worry about Shueluo. I'll talk to Ningxi myself, Su Yan said, his voice slightly tense. Wang Haojuan's eyes lit up when he heard that. It would be great if Mr. Su could do it. As long as Ningxi is willing to come, we can promise to give her the best resources of the company, set up her own studio, and her agent can come with her. Even though Golden Era had been growing rapidly, they were still no match for Starlight. If Su Yan were to personally negotiate with them, their chances of winning were very high. The next day, Su Tao rushed into Liang Feixing's office furiously. Wang Haojuan, I'll fuck him. Liang Feixing raised an eyebrow. I didn't expect you to have such a heavy taste. I'm not joking. I just got the news that Wang Haojuan wants to poach my Ningxi. Oh, poach Ningxi. Liang Feixing heard this and revealed a rather subtle expression. Damn it. What should he do now? What if the queen was really poached away? Then I don't want to live either. Su Tao's expression was as if he would kill himself if Ningxi left. The corners of Liang Feixing's mouth twitched. Can you calm down? Do you think Ningxi is that kind of person? Of course not, Ningxi. It's mainly because Wang Haojuan has too many dirty tricks. So many of the seedlings that I've raised have been poached away one by one. Do you know that I'm already traumatized? Su Tao broke down. Liang Feixing said in a relaxed tone. Don't worry. It's impossible for Ningxi to be poached. Why are you so sure? Su Tao's eyes were filled with tears. This guy now regarded Ningxi as more important than his own life. In addition, he had been betrayed by his artist so many times before, so he must have been traumatized. Liang Feixing rolled his eyes speechlessly as he looked at that fellow's resentful expression, as if he was afraid of being abandoned. Of course, Ningxi was not only an artist of Shengshi Entertainment, but also the owner of Shengshi Entertainment. Have you ever heard of someone poaching the lady boss away? Anyway, just trust me and focus on your work. Don't think too much, Liang Feixing said. Su Tao still had a look of resentment on his face. If Her Majesty abandons me, will you take responsibility? Yes. If you're abandoned, I'll take responsibility for you, okay? Get lost. I still have things to do. Liang Feixing spoke until his lips were about to break before he finally sent the noisy Su Tao away. At the Wildy fashion dinner, Ningxi was invited to attend. Halfway through, she was taking a breather in the small garden. She didn't expect to meet Su Yan, whom she hadn't seen for a long time. Su Yan hadn't looked for her since their last encounter at Imperial Capital University. This result was within Ningxi's expectation. Su Yan was no match for Ning Shueluo. It was said that Su Yan was in charge of Starlight during this period of time, and the reason was that Ning Shueluo was not feeling well. She knew Ning Shueluo too well. Nothing could make her give up her power. Unless, the night was as cold as water. Ningxi was wearing a silver-white dress, and her ink-black hair was tied up in a loose bun at the back of her head. She sat on the swing with a glass of red wine in her hand. The scene in front of him was too beautiful to be real. Su Yan's heart beat wildly. Xiaoxi. As if worried that the person in front of him would avoid him again, he hurriedly said, Xiaoxi, I'm here for business. Business? Ningxi tilted her head slightly, and there was a hint of drunkenness in her misty eyes. She was obviously innocent, but as seductive as a fairy in the dark night. Chapter 1995. Su Yan felt his throat go dry. He took a deep breath to calm himself down and said, Xiaoxi, come to Starlight. Ningxi raised her eyebrows slightly when she heard Su Yan's words. She didn't expect that Su Yan was here to poach her. Su Yan's eyes were filled with gentleness. Xiaoxi, you've been through too much all these years. Although you're doing well now, no matter how much the Golden Era values you, you and the Golden Era are still bound by their interests. If you come to Starlight, at least I can take care of you. Or, if you're tired from work and want to rest, you don't have to work so hard. Huh? Ningxi chuckled. President Su, are you saying that you want to take care of me? Su Yan's face changed and he hurriedly said, Xiaoxi, that's not what I mean. I just want to take care of you. President Su, please take care of Ning Xuelua and her son. I won't bother you. The moment Ningxi's voice fell, Su Yan's face suddenly turned as white as a sheet. You know. Su Yan looked at the girl in front of him eagerly and explained, Xiaoxi, I'm not lying to you. As soon as I got back, I asked my lawyer to draft the divorce agreement. I made an appointment with Xuelua that day to make it clear to her, but it was that night. Xuelua suddenly fainted and was sent to the hospital, and then found out that she was pregnant. Under those circumstances, I really couldn't talk to her. I know I've disappointed you again, Xiaoxi. Please wait for me, give me a little more time, okay? After saying that, Su Yan nervously looked at the girl, only to find that the girl's eyes were slightly closed and her head was quietly leaning against the rope of the swing. She seemed to be asleep. This scene, Su Yan couldn't help but walk towards the girl, as if he was bewitched. Just as his hand was about to touch the girl, someone suddenly came out from the side, blocked Su Yan's hand, and stood in front of Ningxi. Jiang Mai's eyes were full of ice. President Su, you're a married man. I'm afraid this is not appropriate. The words married man made Su Yan's face darken. Xiaoxi is drunk. Please ask her assistant to come over and take care of her. Jiang Mai sneered. What does it have to do with you? With that, he glared at Ningxi, who was sleeping soundly, and helped her up. Wretched girl. Not even the slightest bit of vigilance. Ningxi, who was pulled up, opened her eyes in a daze. Golden Retriever. Didn't I tell you to drink less? Are you courting death by drinking so much wine? Jiang Mai roared. Ningxi pinched her eyebrows. I only drank 1 cup. After the vegetative person woke up, her body had almost recovered. Of course, there were still some side effects. She found that her alcohol tolerance had decreased sharply, and she actually passed out after 1 glass. Jiang Mai quickly helped her out of the small garden and complained angrily. Do you know that Su Zaga almost took advantage of you just now? Thanks. Of course you have to thank me. You must have burned incense in your past life to have such a good ex-boyfriend like me. If you compare me to those scum again, I won't let you off. Of course not. You are my eldest nephew. Say it again. What am I to you? Do you think I won't leave you here? Brother, don't tell my sweetheart about what happened today. You only know your sweetheart. Chapter 1996. These days, Ningxi found that there seemed to be something wrong with Su Tao. He had been circling around her, asking about her well-being, serving tea and pouring water. Although Su Tao had always been very good to her before, these days he was obviously looking for trouble, and several times he looked like he wanted to say something but stopped. Ningxi had no choice but to ask him directly, Brother Tao, what's wrong with you? If you have something to say, just say it. Su Tao dawdled for a long time before he opened his mouth with a sad face. Queen, you won't abandon me, right? Why do you say that? Ningxi was puzzled. It's that bastard Wang Haojuan. He's actually a toad lusting after a swan's flesh, and wants to dig out your starlight. Su Tao was furious. Ningxi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. You said that he wants to eat swan meat. Why would I go to him? But I still don't feel safe. At this time, Liang Feixing pushed the door and came in, grabbed Su Tao's collar and pulled him aside. You're so old. Why are you acting like a spoiled child? I have goosebumps. Didn't I tell you not to bother Ningxi? Go to work. After that, he turned to Ningxi and said, Ningxi, don't bother with this guy, his period is coming, and his mood is abnormal. Ningxi said helplessly, Brother Tao, rest assured, Su Yan did look for me last night, but I have already refused. Fuck. That bastard is really shameless. He even brought up Su Yan. Su Tao was half dead with anger. However, hearing that Ning she had already refused, the big stone in Su Tao's heart finally fell down, and happily wagged his tail and began to work. Queen, I will pick you up to attend the anniversary celebration of the Imperial Capital TV station. I don't know when my afternoon work will end. Anyway, my program is at the end, so it doesn't matter. Brother Tao, you take Qin Shuang to prepare first, and after I finish here, you can go directly. Ning she said. Okay. Su Tao was completely resurrected at this moment. The goddess is too understanding, isn't she? At night, Su Tao rushed to the station with Qin Shuang. After arriving at the place, the two entered the designated dressing room. As soon as he entered, he found that there was already someone inside. Only then did Su Tao realize that he had entered the wrong room. Inside the room, Yin Yuyu had brought along her agent, 2 assistants, a makeup artist, a stylist, and 2 bodyguards. A large group of people were helping Yin Yuyu with her makeup. Ever since she had jumped to Starlight, Yin Yuyu had been paying extra attention to the way she looked when she went out. She was afraid that others would not know how well she had been doing after jumping to another company. One of Yin Yuyu's assistant with a sharp chin saw that there were outsiders coming in, and on the spot scolded Su Tao and Qin Shuang. Who allowed you to come in casually? This is Yuyu's exclusive dressing room. After Su Tao learned that he had gone the wrong way, he was going to leave with Qin Shuang. At this moment, enemies are on a narrow road. Looking at the little assistant with a sharp chin, he suddenly sneered. Oh, exclusive dressing room? Your name is written on it? The little assistant looked at Su Tao, who was opposite him, and suddenly his face was full of ridicule. Su Tao, you were a gold medal agent in the past. Although you fell so low that you almost slept on the street, you can't really be like a scoundrel, right? The little assistant who spoke was the one who slapped Su Tao in the bar and humiliated him on the spot. Later, this matter was exposed by various entertainment newspapers, making Su Tao ridiculed by everyone in the industry. The former gold medal agent was actually slapped in the face by a little assistant in public. Chapter 1997. Afterwards, it was also because of this matter that she was now very valued by Yin Yuyu. Obviously, Yin Yuyu was very satisfied with what she had done at that time. Therefore, now that there was such a good opportunity to perform, this little assistant naturally would not miss it. Hee, I'm afraid that the one who is really down to sleep on the street is someone else, right? Su Tao deliberately glanced in Yin Yuyu's direction, and faintly said. Hearing this, Yin Yuyu, who was sitting in front of the dressing table, suddenly stiffened and her face changed. Su Tao was obviously mocking her. A year ago, when she was at her most destitute, she really slept on the street. Later, she was picked up by Su Tao and became a superstar in Shengshi. The little assistant also heard about Yin Yuyu's past, and knew that Yin Yuyu must be very unhappy now. She immediately rushed to the front of the two. I said that this is Yuyu's exclusive dressing room. Can't the dog understand human words? At this time, the staff of the TV station outside heard the movement inside and hurried over. Excuse me, what happened? A middle-aged man with a beard and a young female staff came in. The little assistant with a sharp chin saw the people coming, and immediately complained. Director Chun, this is Yuyu's exclusive dressing room. Every time Yuyu comes, she uses this room alone. The others are too small and can't be squeezed at all. However, these 2 people are like scoundrels. They insist on staying here and not leaving. They want to rob our Yuyu's dressing room. The director looked at Yin Yuyu, who was wearing a gorgeous dress and makeup, and then looked at Qin Shuang and Su Tao. He suddenly had a headache. In their line of work, they generally picked up the soft persimmon to pinch, and Yin Yuyu was famous in the circle for not being easy to deal with. On the other hand, although Qin Shuang became popular overnight and the limelight was fierce, her position was still completely incomparable to Yin Yuyu. They were not in the same rank at all. It was really unnecessary to offend Yin Yuyu for Qin Shuang. After a short period of deliberation, the director had already thought about it. He lightly coughed and turned to Su Tao and Qin Shuang. This dressing room is indeed Miss Yin's exclusive dressing room. Why don't the 2 of you follow me to another place? The little assistant with a sharp chin heard that Director Chen was still standing on their side in the end, and suddenly his face was full of pride. Did you hear that? Qin Shuang didn't want to trouble Su Tao, so she whispered to Su Tao, Brother Tao, forget it, let's go somewhere else. Su Tao did not speak, but his face was unusually gloomy. Seeing that the two of them were not moving, the assistant said impatiently, Our Yuyu's program is about to start. Can you afford to be late? Originally, it wasn't a big deal, but this little assistant just had to make a fuss about it. It was clear that she was deliberately embarrassing them. Scenaristan looked at the time and realized that they were running out of time, so he couldn't care less. He said in a slightly tough tone, Please leave, both of you. Please don't disturb the other artistes who are preparing to go on stage. The little assistant gave the two bodyguards a look and then mocked in a shrill voice. Get out of here. You brought along a minor character who became famous overnight, yet you still have the nerve to act like a big shot and fight with our Yuyu for the dressing room. Where did you get the face to do that? As they spoke, the two bodyguards had already walked towards them, wanting to forcefully chase them away. At this time, behind Su Tao and Qin Shuang, a faint voice came from the door. So, I am an 18-line small cameo? Chapter 1998. The moment this familiar voice sounded, not only the bodyguard subconsciously paused, but also the little assistant, Yin Yuyu, Scenaristan, and the staff, all looked in the direction of the door. Then everyone saw that at this moment, it seemed that a notice had just come down, and Ning Shi, wearing an evening dress, stood at the door. Seeing the person, the sharp-chinned little assistant's originally unscrupulous face suddenly flashed a trace of panic, and she straightened her neck and said, I'm talking about Qin Shuang, not you, Teacher Ning. What? Ning Shi didn't look at the sharp-chinned little assistant, but looked at Qin Shuang, who was closest to her, and asked. Qin Shuang hurriedly whispered, Brother Shi, it's nothing, it's just that we went to the wrong room, this side, let us leave. The assistant felt that it was reasonable. Seeing this, she immediately interrupted. What do you mean by going the wrong way? You make it sound so nice. These two people clearly came to fight for the dressing room on purpose. Why don't you take a piss and look at yourself? It's only been a few days and you already don't know who you are. Listening to the words of the little assistant, Ningshi's face did not have any expression, but step by step, she walked in the direction of Yin Yuyu. At this moment, because Yin Yuyu saw Ningxi appear, she subconsciously stood up. Ningxi stretched out her hand lazily, directly pulled the chair behind Yin Yuyu to her, and slowly sat down. A pair of long legs wrapped in a high-slit dress slowly crossed, elbows on the back of the chair, tilted her head, glanced at everyone in the room, and said unhurriedly, This dressing room, I want it. The moment Ningxi's voice fell, Yin Yuyu's face suddenly darkened, and her eyes stared at her coldly. The sharp-chinned little assistant immediately said, Teacher Ning, this is our Yuyu's dressing room. Ningxi slightly raised her eyebrows. Oh, her dressing room? Did you write her name? The little assistant didn't expect Ningxi to say the same words as Su Tao, and her face suddenly became extremely ugly. She could scold Su Tao at will, but she didn't dare to use the same attitude to Ningxi, and could only look aggrieved. Teacher Ning, this is indeed our Yuyu's dressing room. If you don't believe me, you can ask Scenaristan. Alright, I'll ask now. Ningxi turned to look at Scenaristan and asked calmly, Scenaristan, may I ask, whose dressing room is this? Scenaristan wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. After a short silence, he answered almost immediately, This is, of course, Teacher Ning's dressing room. It's your exclusive dressing room. After saying that, he hurriedly winked at the female assistant next to him. What? The little assistant's face was full of disbelief. She was about to speak, but she saw the female assistant next to Scenaristan quickly nod and rush over after receiving the leader's gaze. Soon after, he returned with a white cardboard nameplate in his hand. A few bold black characters were written on the cardboard. Ningxi's exclusive dressing room. The assistant, Yin Yuyu, and the others watched helplessly as the female assistant hung the big and conspicuous cardboard on the door. Did you see that? Ningxi's expression didn't change from beginning to end, except for the coldness in her eyes. You guys. The assistant with the sharp chin stared at the scene and saw the director's attitude. His face darkened as he choked on his words. Yin Yu trembled with anger and almost died on the spot. Chapter 1999. That was not the end. Scenarist immediately turned to Yin Yu and the others and said, Ms. Yin, I think you must have gone to the wrong dressing room. Please change to another dressing room immediately. Damn. Wrong room. It turned out that they went to the wrong room? They came early in the morning, okay? And this was obviously the dressing room that Yu had been using. However, at this moment, it was obvious that Scenarist did not dare to offend Ningxi because of her high status. It was all intentional. Please, Scenarist urged again. The little assistant didn't dare to say a word at this moment. If Ningxi didn't care, she could naturally be unscrupulous, but Ningxi obviously wanted to stand up for Qin Shuang. What else did she dare to say? Yin Yu had never suffered such a great humiliation. Her nails pinched into her palms, and she almost lost her composure on the spot. She used all her self-control to make herself bear it. Let's go. In the room, the group of people brought by Yin Yu lowered their heads and quickly packed up their things. A group of people walked to the door. When they passed by Su Tao and Qin Shuang, the little assistant with a sharp chin was so angry that she said fiercely, What are you proud of? A villain intoxicated by success. Aren't you just holding on to Ningxi's thighs? The little assistant's voice was not low, so Ningxi naturally heard it. Seeing that Su Tao and Qin Shuang's faces were not good, Ningxi's face suddenly became cold. At this moment Ningxi, who was sitting on Yin Yu's seat, suddenly stood up and walked towards Qin Shuang and Su Tao while saying, Brother Tao Shuang, follow me to the dressing room upstairs. Ningxi's dressing room was originally arranged upstairs. Although Yin Yu's dressing room was already very good, the most luxurious dressing room in the station, which was specially prepared for international bigwigs like Song Lin, was the one upstairs. Qin Shuang nodded obediently. When Yin Yu heard the word upstairs, her face became even uglier. At this moment, a staff member from the station rushed over to inform her, panting, Miss Yin, your program is about to start. Please get ready to go on stage. What? The little assistant's face suddenly changed. But our Yu's makeup is only halfway done. Speaking of this, the little assistant didn't care so much and quickly said, Since Ms. Ning wants to go to another dressing room, we don't need this one. Then let our Yu go in and touch up her makeup. After saying that, he was about to rush in. Ningxi smiled and glanced at the words Ningxi's exclusive dressing room on the door. Did I allow you to use it? Not only does she want to snatch it, but even if she doesn't use it, it won't be your turn. How could Scenarist not understand what Ningxi meant? He immediately said, I'm afraid that's not possible. This is Teacher Ning's exclusive dressing room. Without Teacher Ning's permission, outsiders are not allowed to enter. Please choose another place. The public dressing room is opposite. What? You actually let our Yu go to the public dressing room? Also, why aren't we allowed to use it even though it's empty? The assistant couldn't believe it. Scenarist said expressionlessly, This room was originally reserved for Teacher Ning. From the beginning you were the ones who made the mistake. We can't do anything about it. If you can't make it in time, I can only let the later programs take over. This was simply going too far. The junior assistant was furious. But there was no other way. If there were any more delays, the show would really be cancelled. In the end, Yin Yu and the others had no choice but to squeeze into the overcrowded public makeup room and finish the rest of their makeup under the curious gazes of the other celebrities. Chapter 2000. On the stage, Yin Yu was in a hurry and was in a bad mood. She was not in the right state of mind. She sang off several notes in the middle of the song, and one high note broke. As soon as Yin Yu returned to the backstage with a gloomy face, she heard whispers coming from inside. Oh my God! Who gave Yin Yu the courage to choose this kind of program? Haha, so many celebrities have been involved in lip-syncing scandals recently. At least she can prove that it's not lip-syncing. Pfft, there's such a thing? Hey, that's not the point, okay? Do any of you know what happened to Yin Yu? Why did she squeeze into the public dressing room with us? Doesn't she always have her own dressing room? Haha, I know. I just heard that Su Tao and Qin Shuang went to the wrong dressing room, and Yin Yu used it to find fault with them, saying that they deliberately wanted to snatch the dressing room, and even asked people to drive them out. And then, how did Yin Yu come out in the end? The female artist who claimed to have inside information said excitedly. Then the goddess Ningxi arrived. I don't need to tell you what happened next, right? Ningxi is quite loyal, and I heard that she is especially protective of the artists in the same company. Recently, in addition to Qin Shuang, there are several more in the Golden Age. Yin Yu is arrogant and domineering all day long because of her high position. This time she kicked an iron plate. She only knows how to bully those who are lower than her. If you have the ability, go against Ningxi. Hearing those people's words, Yin Yu trembled with anger. Have you said enough? The voice of the gossip master suddenly came from behind. Everyone was startled, and they all lowered their heads and pretended to be busy, as if nothing had happened, for fear of being swept by the storm tail of this person. Until Yin Yu left in a rage, the crowd became even more excited to gossip. What do you think Yin Yu will do this time? Those who offended Yin Yu in the past were all punished badly. Someone asked. Punish Ningxi? Are you kidding? Yin Yu's position is not at the same level as Ningxi at all, okay? Look at the attitude of the station. Don't forget that Yin Yu has Han Zixuan. Didn't these two have the best relationship? Han Zixuan is such an autocratic and selfish person, but she takes good care of Yin Yu. The person who spoke rolled his eyes. Han Zixuan was suppressed so badly by Ningxi that she can't even take care of herself. I think it's still too early to decide the winner. Golden Era's strength and Han Zixuan's popularity are right there. They still have a chance. At night in a high-class club. At that moment, Han Zixuan and Ning Xuelua were sitting opposite each other at a table in the pavilion. Han Zixuan's face was full of anger and grievance. Vice President Ning, when you were here, you always took care of me and promoted me. But since you left, I really can't stay in the company anymore. When will you come back? Han Zixuan asked the question that concerned her the most. Ever since Su Yan took over the company, she had been under more and more pressure. She really couldn't sit still anymore, so she asked Ning Xuelua out in private. Ning Xuelua listened to Han Zixuan's crying, and her face was full of helplessness. I'm very sorry, Zixuan. I don't have any power in my hands now. I'm afraid I really can't help you. Han Zixuan's expression immediately changed. Vice President Ning, I really don't understand. Why did you suddenly leave the company? Chapter 2001. A trace of viciousness flashed across Ning Xuelua's eyes, but her face was weak and helpless. She smiled bitterly and shook her head. Why would I leave if I could? I've been in Starlight for so long. Starlight is like my second home. You're like my sister. I want to stay in the company too, but... Halfway through her words, Ning Xuelua suddenly sighed, and the smile on her face became more and more bitter. Forget it. It's fine. I've left. It's useless to say anything now. I'm just dragging you into this. Because of me, Ning Xuelua suddenly shut her mouth and pretended to look at Han Zixuan in surprise, as if she had accidentally said something wrong. Han Zixuan was not a fool. She could obviously tell that Ning Xuelua had something to say, and it was related to her. How could she let it go? She quickly reached out to hold Ning Xuelua's hand and said, Vice President Ning, what happened? I was raised by you. Don't tell me you don't even trust me? Ning Xuelua shook her head bitterly. Zixuan, you're like my sister. How can I not trust you? It's just that things are different now. No matter what happened in the past, I could protect you, but now, I don't want to tell you because I'm afraid of dragging you into this. After all, I can't even protect myself now. Can't protect yourself? Ning Xuelua's words shocked Han Zixuan. Ning Xuelua was now the young mistress of the Su family. With her identity and status, who could threaten her? Subconsciously, Ningxi's delicate face suddenly flashed across Han Zixuan's mind. Wasn't it because Ningxi pressured Ning Xuelua to quit the film industry? Could it be? Han Zixuan looked at Ning Xuelua with some uncertainty. After hesitating for a while, she whispered, Is it Ningxi? When Han Zixuan said Ningxi's name, Ning Xuelua's shoulders obviously trembled. She pretended to be aggrieved and lowered her head to hide the look in her eyes, but it was obvious that she had suffered a great grievance and was enduring it silently. Ningxi again. Han Zixuan looked at Ning Xuelua's reaction. It was obviously related to Ningxi. That bitch is torturing you again? You were at the peak of the film industry. If it weren't for her, you wouldn't have left the stage. Now that you've retreated, she still won't let you off. She's so shameless. Han Zixuan said angrily, not because she felt wronged for Ning Shui, but because her enemy happened to be Ningxi. This anger was quite real. Ning Xuelua secretly observed Han Zixian's reaction. Naturally, she knew what Han Zixian was thinking, but she did not show it on her face. She raised her head with a bitter smile and glanced at Han Zixian with a lonely and helpless gaze. Her hand subconsciously touched her flat stomach. It's not Ningxi's fault. It's my own problem. Not long ago, I found out that I was pregnant. Su Yan was afraid that I would have to work too hard, so he asked me to temporarily retire from Starlight to focus on my pregnancy. Ning Xuelua paused. There was a hint of loneliness in her voice. You're pregnant? Han Zixuan's eyes widened in surprise, but she quickly pretended to be pleasantly surprised and said, Congratulations, Vice President Ning, you're really lucky. President Su loves you so much, and now that you have a child, President Su will definitely treat you like a treasure and treat you well. It's really enviable. Chapter 2002. Ning Shui's heart trembled as she landed on the ground. Her face was full of tenderness. I'm very happy that the child came so suddenly, but Su Yan said that Starlight was too busy to come back recently. Busy? Han Zixuan was slightly stunned. Because of Ningxi's return, the artists of Starlight were under a lot of pressure during this period. Compared with the peak period in the past, there was no comparison at all. Su Yan was the largest shareholder of Starlight. He didn't need to do ordinary things. How could he be so busy that he didn't have time to take care of his pregnant wife? Speaking of which, Su Yan's only action in the company during this period was probably. A shocking speculation suddenly formed in Han Zixuan's mind. She pretended to be calm and looked at Ning Xuelua, asking tentatively, Vice President Ning, do you know that President Su wants to poach Ningxi to Starlight? There was a flash of jealousy in Ning Xuelua's eyes, but she suddenly looked shocked. She suddenly widened her eyes and looked at Han Zixuan in disbelief. What? He wants to poach Ningxi to Starlight? Ning Xuelua's reaction startled Han Zixuan. Vice President Ning, don't you know? I also think it's strange. Why would President Su want to poach Ningxi to Starlight Entertainment? Ningxi was kicked out of Starlight Entertainment in the past. Now you're spending a lot of money to poach her back. If others find out, won't they laugh at Starlight Entertainment for lacking talents? Ning Xuelua's face darkened. She lowered her head, and there was a bitter taste in her mouth. Why is she still unwilling to let Su Yan go? Vice President Ning. Ning Shi and President Su. Han Zixuan was shocked. Ning Xuelua seemed to realize that she had let the cat out of the bag. She hurriedly raised her hand to cover her mouth and looked at Han Zixuan miserably. No, nothing. Ningxi just met Su Yan a long time ago. Although Ningxi loved Su Yan, that was a long time ago. Now they have nothing to do with each other. They don't have anything to do with each other. Ning Xuelua's voice became lower and lower. The grievance and bitterness in her voice made people feel sorry for her. Han Zixuan had never expected that the truth would be like this. Ningxi and Su Yan had known each other for a long time? And Ningxi had pursued Su Yan before? This series of news shocked Han Zixuan. She then thought of Su Yan's frequent attempts to poach Ningxi during this period of time, and then thought of how Ning Xuelua was pregnant, but Su Yan still did not return. Ningxi is too much. You are pregnant. She actually tried to seduce CEO Su with these foxy tricks. Was she even human? Wasn't it enough that she forced you to retreat from the entertainment industry? Now she even wants to interfere in your relationship with President Su. Han Zixuan pretended to be angry, but she was already overjoyed. Alright Ningxi, I thought you had some great ability, but in the end, you're just a shameless bitch. Subconsciously, Han Zixuan sneaked a peek at the gap of the sofa. Under the light, a cold light flashed. It was the camera that she had prepared in advance. She wanted to get some information from Ning Xuelua, but she did not expect that the news would be so explosive. Ning Xuelua raised her head with tears in her eyes. She bit her lip and shook her head at Han Zixuan. No. It's not like this. Su Yan he wouldn't do this to me. He's really busy, not because of Ningxi. Ning Xuelua's voice was bitter and sounded like she was about to cry. Her expression hid great grievance, but she could only bear it silently. As Han Zixuan comforted Ning Xuelua, who was out of control, she secretly narrowed her eyes. A vicious cold light flashed in her eyes. Ningxi, I don't believe that you won't die this time. Ning Xuelua, who was being comforted by Han Zixuan, lowered her head to hide the viciousness in her eyes. Chapter 2003. After comforting Ning Xuelua, Han Zixuan personally sent her out of the clubhouse. She turned around and immediately took out the camera hidden in the gap of the sofa. Under the flickering light, Han Zixuan watched all the footage she had just recorded. As Ning Xuelua's slightly crying voice came from the video, Han Zixuan's eyes were filled with malice. Ningxi, I want to see what you can do this time. The next morning, the phone rang and broke the silence of the morning. Ningxi picked up the noisy phone and looked at the name of Su Tao on it. She mumbled and poked her head out of Lu Tingxiao's warm arms. She answered the phone with one hand and said lazily, Brother Tao, what's the matter so early in the morning? Before Ningxi finished her words, Su Tao on the other side of the phone instantly exploded. My queen. Go to Weibo and have a look. It's all over the internet. Weibo. Ningxi was confused by Su Tao's roar. She took the phone and walked to the computer, opened it, and logged in her Weibo. As soon as she logged in, a series of notifications almost blew up the computer. On the hot search list of Weibo, the words, Movie Queen Ning she seduced a married man, were on the top. Who the hell did I seduce this time? Ningxi stared at the unbelievable words. This kind of rumor seemed to have never stopped since she started her career. Ningxi thought it was the same as before. Someone was making groundless accusations against her. However, Su Tao on the other side of the phone was so nervous that he almost roared. Ningxi, this time it's a big deal. Go and have a look. The video has been posted on the internet. Liang Feixing and I started to suppress the news as soon as we saw it, but it didn't work at all. It's obvious that someone is behind it. Now the hot search is getting more and more popular. We can't suppress it anymore. Take a look at the video and come to the company as soon as possible. Let's discuss how to suppress this matter. Su Tao didn't even have time to take a breath. It could be seen that the situation was serious. There was a video. What video was it? Ningxi frowned slightly and followed Su Tao's words to click on the hot search. Under the hot search terms, she saw a video with an eye-catching title on the pinnacle of the Weibo post. Ningxi clicked on the video and frowned. In the video, Han Zixuan and Ning Xuelua's faces were clearly shown. The two of them seemed to be chatting in a club. At first, he didn't think anything was wrong with Ningxi, but the more he looked at her, the more he felt something was wrong. When Han Zixuan mentioned Ningxi in the video, Ning Xuelua felt wronged and cried secretly. Her words were full of sadness and loneliness. And she even directly exposed the ambiguous past between Ningxi and Su Yan many years ago while sobbing. On this Weibo post, there was a long paragraph of incisive words that stirred people's hearts. The famous movie star Ningxi was shameless to such an extent. She seduced a married man, completely disregarding the fact that his wife was pregnant, causing the husband to neglect his pregnant wife, causing the pregnant woman to be mentally and physically exhausted. She was simply shameless. She did not mention the names of the couple who were involved. However, as long as one was not blind, they would be able to recognize at a glance that the crying woman in the video was Ning Xueluo, who had disappeared for a long time. At that moment, Weibo was in an uproar. Under the pinned Weibo post, the number of comments went up to hundreds of thousands overnight. Chapter 2004. I didn't expect Ningxi to be such a woman. Ning Xuelua has been out of the entertainment industry for a long time, but she still won't let her go. Ning Xuelua was forced out of the entertainment industry by Ning Shi's dirty tricks. Now that I think about it, Ning Xuelua was really wronged. She didn't do anything bad. It wasn't her fault that she was switched at the hospital. But in the end, she was forced to leave the entertainment industry because of Ning Shi. Now I think about it, the entertainment industry is really terrible. Ning Shi is a vixen. She doesn't look like a good person. She has been involved in many scandals. Now she is even more shameless. She even seduced Ning Xuelua's husband. Ning Xuelua was persecuted and ruined. Now it is so difficult for her to be a woman who has nothing to do with the world. She has to bear the pain of pregnancy for 10 months, and now she is being poached by someone. Not long ago, I heard that Starlight wanted to poach Ning Shi. If I remember correctly, Su Yan's shares have been transferred to Ning Xuelua. Ning Xuelua is the vice president of the company. But not long ago, Ning Xuelua was suddenly pushed out of the company and replaced by Su Yan. Now Su Yan wants to poach Ning Shi. TSK, it's really scary. Scumbag and bitch. Rows of abusive words covered the entire comment section at a speed visible to the naked eye. Under the trending words, all kinds of abuse and revelations emerged one after another. Ning Shi's fans were also in an uproar. How could they believe that Ning Shi would do such a thing? Looking at the abuse on the internet, the true fans who supported Brother Shi immediately rolled up their sleeves and began to fight. In just one morning, the entire Weibo was torn into a battlefield by the abusive people and the true fans. Even though the true fans were fighting fiercely, they still couldn't stop the attacks from the internet water army and the onlookers who didn't know the truth. In the blink of an eye, Ning Shi out of the entertainment industry rose to the second hot search list. Ning Shi looked at the rows of abuse and the true fans' protection on the screen, and her expression suddenly became a little strange. Shi and Su Yan? Lu Tingxiao walked behind Ning Shi. His deep eyes swept over the obscene words on the computer, and he raised his hand to close the laptop. Dirty eyes. Sweetheart, did I wake you? Ning Shi directly reached out to support the screen. First, she hooked her arms around Lu Tingxiao's neck and gave him a good morning kiss. Then she casually hooked her lips and said, I've seen all kinds of storms. This is nothing to me. Lu Tingxiao did not comment but retracted his hand. Ning Shi leaned back slightly, her body leaning against Lu Tingxiao's long legs. She raised her hand and pointed at a comment that was surviving in the midst of a group of abusive comments. Bullshit. Would our brother Shi fall for that coward Su Yan? Don't think that you're invincible just because you have some money. Do you really think that everyone loves your money? Ning Xuelua's acting is really terrible. No wonder she couldn't survive in the film and television industry. What else can a woman who occupies a man's home do other than shed a few crocodile tears to gain sympathy? If you're jealous of my brother Shi, just say it. You're really going all out to smear your own husband. Look, this must be my own fan. This fighting power, this sharpness. TSK, it's awesome. Not only was Ning Shi not angry because of the hot search, but she even admired the fighting power of her own fans with their bare hands. Chapter 2005. Ning Shi's diehard fans. Are you deaf? She said it herself that Ning Shi has always been in love with Su Yan and plotted against him. If there wasn't something unspeakable between the two of them, why would Su Yan suddenly kick his wife out of the company and poach Ning Shi as soon as he took power? Who's deaf? I think some people are not only deaf, but they're also diehard. Ning Xuelua had said it herself that it was because she was pregnant that Su Yan asked her to retire from Starlight to let her rest in peace. Han Zixuan was the one who said the whole poaching thing. How do you know that Han Zixuan was deliberately provoking Ning Xuelua to help her deal with Ning Shi? Our brother Shi is doing fine in Shengshi and has been busy with work recently. Han Zixuan has been suppressed so badly by our brother Shi. She can't play with him on the surface, so she's starting to play tricks behind his back. Otherwise, why would she secretly record her meeting with Ning Xuelua? She's obviously prepared. How can we believe someone like her? Our brother Shi has been slandered ever since he debuted. He's seen too many of these despicable tactics. In a high-end villa in the capital, Han Zixuan's eyes were filled with coldness and mockery as she read the doubtful comments on the internet. They're still trying to clear their name at this point. Zheng Anru said smugly. They're dead meat this time. Ningxi definitely doesn't know that we have something even more shocking in our hands. Zixuan, let's send the evidence out now. Let's see what else they can say when the evidence is sent out. Han Zixuan curled her lips and brushed her nails. She said slowly. What's the rush? Let them jump around a little longer. The more they protect Ningxi now, the more disappointed they'll be when they find out the truth. She was really lucky this time. Not only did she get Ningxi's secret from Ning Xuelua, but she also got a video that could destroy Ningxi eternally. Zheng Anru nodded excitedly. Yes. When the time comes, all these fans will turn against her. It's so satisfying to think about how she'll be scolded by her own fans. That night, the fight between the two sides entered a white-hot stage. The Internet Water Army was overwhelming. Although Ningxi's fans were not as many as the Internet Water Army, their fighting capacity was very high. In the evening, they even faintly surpassed Ningxi's fans. At this moment, Han Zixuan released another Weibo post. Originally, I just couldn't stand watching someone's shamelessness and didn't want innocent people to get hurt. I didn't expect it to cause so many malicious speculations. Now even passers-by can't stand someone's disgusting table manners. I just received an anonymous email. Please judge for yourselves what the truth is. This Weibo post was accompanied by a video. In the video, it was a certain luxurious hotel in the imperial capital. Not far away, the logo of YLD could be vaguely seen. The banquet hall was filled with fragrant clothes and people were toasting each other. It seemed like they were at YLD's fashion banquet. Then, the scene quickly switched to the small garden behind the banquet hall. A woman was sitting on a swing, and a man was standing beside her. Although it was nighttime and the lighting was dim, the angle of the video clearly showed their faces. And these two people were the male and female leads of the scandal, Ningxi and Su Yan. The two seemed to be having a conversation. Su Yan, Xiaoxi. Su Yan. Xiaoxi, I'm calling you for business this time. Ningxi. Oh, business? Su Yan. Xiaoxi, come to Starlight. Chapter 2006. The short 10-second video had just been released, and it immediately set off a monstrous wave on the internet. Everyone was shocked. Ning Xuelua and Han Zixuan's fans were like hungry wolves that had not eaten for a few days. They pounced on them with bloodshot eyes. Fuck. They are indeed a pair of adulterers. Ningxi's diehard fans, what else do you have to say? The evidence is irrefutable. Who dares to say that our Zixuan is creating trouble? Seducing a married man, bewitching him into taking away all the power from his wife, poaching her, leaving a pregnant woman alone at home in the middle of the night. Then the two of them hid in the small garden to have a private rendezvous. How shameless. Zixuan was just defending her friend, but Ningxi's diehard fans are attacking her like crazy. Fortunately, justice will never be absent. I thought Zheng Anru's words were a bit harsh, but now I think it was too light. It's an insult to Zixuan to compare her with her. Didn't she get to the top with her face and body? It's just that she hid it so well that she deceived everyone. Now the truth is finally out. Ningxi's diehard fans, why aren't you saying anything? Come on. At Shengshi Entertainment, Liang Feixing and Su Tao were paying close attention to the situation on the internet. Su Tao sneered. Tut, Han Zixuan still has a backup plan. Liang Feixing squinted at him. Needless to say. Otherwise, she wouldn't have dared to use her real body. Su Tao yawned and said in a bored tone, boring. Are we going to send the information on our side? Liang Feixing looked at Ningxi, who was sitting on the sofa opposite him. Ningxi, what do you think? Ningxi looked away from the computer screen, tilted her head with one hand, and tapped the armrest with the other. Of course we will post the video, but it won't be that easy. When she said the last sentence, a cold gleam flashed across Ningxi's eyes. Su Tao hurriedly asked, Your Majesty, what do you mean? Ningxi's fingers stopped moving. She looked at Su Tao and said word by word, clean house. She had to start all over again when she had just woken up. and Golden Era was in a terrible state. She had no choice but to fight passively. But now it was time to take care of Han Zixuan. Su Tao's eyes lit up when he heard the domineering words. Your Majesty, Queen is mighty and domineering. You're right. Do you think it's that easy to get away with slandering someone? Liang Feixing muttered to himself. I've been secretly investigating Han Zixuan recently, but she's indeed very cautious. I haven't found any useful information after so long. Otherwise, he would have gotten rid of her long ago. How could he let her continue to jump around here? Su Tao nodded in agreement. That's true. There are too many scandals about Han Zixuan, but there's no evidence. It's useless to say anything. Ning Shi's gaze fell on Su Tao and she asked, Brother Tao, have you forgotten about Yin Yu? Su Tao was puzzled. Yin Yu? What did this have to do with Yin Yu? With Han Zixuan's personality, why would she take such good care of Yin Yu after she changed jobs? Ning Shi asked. Chapter 2007. Su Tao's heart skipped a beat when he heard that. This is indeed strange. They weren't familiar with each other when they were at Golden Era. After they moved to Starlight, not only did Han Zixuan suppress the artists from Starlight, she also kept a close eye on the artists who jumped over from Golden Era. She didn't allow anyone to surpass her position. Yin Yu is also an A-lister like her, so she is a big threat to her. Their relationship should be like fire and water. But on the surface, Han Zixuan and Yin Yu are very close. Han Zixuan often pulls strings for Yin Yu and even attends important events with her. Liang Feixing also reacted. This does not make sense. I remember there was once when Yin Yu directly snatched a role from Han Zixuan. Han Zixuan didn't say anything about it. Afterward, she even told the media that she was the one who recommended the role to Yin Yu. But everyone in the industry knows that Han Zixuan has been eyeing the role for a long time. Speaking of this, Su Tao suddenly jumped up in excitement. Is it possible that Yin Yu has something on Han Zixuan? Very likely. Liang Feixing nodded. Su Tao looked at Ning Shi with admiration. Queen, you're so awesome. Why didn't I think of that? Ning Shi chuckled. I'm just a bystander, and it's just a guess. I'll have to trouble Brother Tao for the rest. Su Tao immediately said, Queen, don't worry. I'll take care of it. Liang Feixing sighed and said, I've fallen into the same mindset before. I've always been thinking about investigating Han Zixuan's background and neglected other things. I think Ning Shi's guess is right. Yin Yu has something very important in her hands. It's enough to make Han Zixuan lose her career in the entertainment industry. But Yin Yu will never give it to us. Su Tao raised his eyebrows and said confidently, Don't worry about it. It's just a small case. Liang Feixing raised his eyebrows. Okay, I forgot that you're here. Ning Shi smiled. Then I'll wait for your good news, Brother Tao. Late at night, in a private room of a restaurant, Yin Yu threw her bag on the table beside her with a paw sound. She crossed her arms and looked at the man in front of her impatiently. Say it. Why did you call me here? Su Tao's attitude was attentive, but there was a hint of nervousness in his eyes. I'm sorry to disturb you so late at night. I really have something urgent to attend to. Yin Yu snorted. If it's because of Ning Shi, you'd better give up. Ning Shi was going to die this time. Yin Yu was filled with anger at the thought of the humiliation she had suffered at the Imperial Capital TV station that day. Naturally, she would not let go of such a great opportunity to mock her. This was also the reason why she came over when Su Tao asked her out. Of course, she wanted to take a good look at Su Tao's dejected appearance. TSK, I really pity Brother Tao. He had just hugged onto a golden thigh, but now he has become a pile of mud. Haha. Su Tao's expression was very ugly and distressed. After a moment of silence, he said meaningfully, Yu, it doesn't matter what happens to me. Actually, the one who loses the most is you. Yin Yu was instantly displeased. She snorted coldly. What nonsense are you talking about? What do I have to lose? Su Tao immediately revealed an extremely surprised look. Don't you know? Chapter 2008. "Know what?" Yin Yu sneered. "Should you know that the thigh you've been hugging is about to fall? Or are you going to go back to the way you were in the past, bringing a bunch of small-time artists around all day?" Su Tao looked at Yin Yu, who was full of mockery, but he was not angry at all. He only shook his head. "Yu, you can mock me all you want. I'm here today not because of Ningxi, but because of you." "Because of me?" Yin Yu chuckled, and looked at Su Tao with an incredulous look. "Then I really have to thank you for your kindness, but instead of worrying about me, why don't you think about how to clean up Ningxi's mess? Now that Ningxi is involved in this matter, I'm afraid that no matter how powerful Golden Era is, there's nothing you can do. Hurry up and think of someone to support her, or else she'll end up on the streets again after she falls." Su Tao did not show any signs of anger in the face of Yin Yu's constant mockery. He only smiled bitterly. "Ningxi, this matter isn't that easy to solve. I came to find you today because I remembered the time when you were in Golden Era. When you first came to Golden Era, I could tell that you had the potential to become famous. Although I'm very unhappy that you've jumped ship to Starlight, but as long as you have a good future, it's fine." "Hee, Su Tao, there's no point in playing the emotional card with me now, right?" Yin Yu did not look happy at all. Su Tao smiled bitterly. "I've been in a bad mood for the past few days, so I wanted to talk to someone. Even though you're no longer in Golden Era, we're still colleagues. Just take it that you're pitying me and talking to me." Yin Yu frowned slightly. She felt that Su Tao was acting weird today, but when she thought of how Su Tao hugged Ningxi's thigh and swaggered around, she did not mind admiring Su Tao's downfall. "All right, I Yin Yu am not an ingrate. Say what you want to say." A gratified smile appeared on Su Tao's face, but a trace of coldness flashed across his eyes. How could he not know that Yin Yu was prepared to see him make a fool of himself? "Yu, you're very talented. Golden Era chose you because they wanted you to be their #1 sister. But you're doing well in Starlight too. Even though Han Zixuan is above you, it's still good enough," Su Tao said casually, but when these words entered Yin Yu's ears, it sounded particularly sarcastic. When Yin Yu chose to jump ship to Starlight, she had hoped that Starlight would support her and make her the big sister of Starlight. However, who would have thought that Han Zixuan would firmly suppress her, making it difficult for Yin Yu to take another step forward in Starlight? Some time ago, Ningxi finally came back and suppressed Han Zixuan's limelight, causing Han Zixuan's popularity to plummet. Starshine was also prepared to transfer resources to support Yin Yu to become the #1 sister of Starshine, but Yin Yu suddenly frowned. The reason why Starlight wanted to support her was because Han Zixuan was suppressed by Ningxi. However, once Ningxi was brought down by the matter of being a mistress, no one would be able to suppress Han Zixuan's limelight anymore. Before this, Yin Yu was happy that Ningxi was about to fall. But now, she suddenly thought of her own situation, and she could not smile anymore. Chapter 2009. If Ningxi didn't fall, Han Zixuan wouldn't have a chance to make a name for herself. Starlight would inevitably shift its resources to Yin Yu. But if Ningxi fell, although Yin Yu resented Ningxi, in this way, Han Zixuan was bound to make a comeback. At that time, Yin Yu would no longer be the top sister of Starlight. Yin Yu didn't realize this problem at first, but after hearing Su Tao's words, she suddenly felt that she was overjoyed. If she didn't have Han Zixuan's secret, she would have been the first one to be attacked. Even so, she knew very well that this secret could only prevent Han Zixuan from punishing her. She was trembling with fear every day in Starlight, wagging her tail like a dog, hoping that Han Zixuan would give her some pitiful resources. After all, she was also an artist of Starlight. If this secret was exposed, Han Zixuan would be finished, but so would she. If Starlight found out that she was secretly messing around with an artist from the same company, she would definitely be blacklisted. Han Zixuan naturally knew this. She knew that Yin Yu wouldn't dare to release this news, so they could only maintain a delicate balance. Ningxi's appearance had given her a glimmer of hope, but now that Ningxi had fallen, everything was back to square one. Moreover, Han Zixuan would only be more unscrupulous in the future, so the effect of this secret would only become weaker. On the contrary, when Ningxi, her biggest enemy, was eliminated, Han Zixuan would probably see her as a thorn in her side and get rid of her as soon as possible. Seeing that Yin Yuyu was thinking about something and looking worse and worse, Su Tao pretended to sigh casually and said, "Alas, Ningxi is going to have a hard time." Han Zixuan was suppressed by Ningxi and almost couldn't stand it anymore. Now that Ningxi has fallen, she will be more popular. At the end of the day, if there's really someone who's going to rise, I'd rather it be you. After all, when you rise in the future, you're someone I've managed before, so I'll look better. Yin Yuyu's expression turned uglier. If Ningxi fell, how could she rise again in starlight? She knew Han Zixuan's personality very well. In the short span of half a year since Han Zixuan had joined the company, whether it was the old artists from Starlight Entertainment or those from Golden Era, as long as they tried to steal the limelight from her, they would all be crushed by her. Because of Ningxi's comeback, Han Zixuan had been suppressed, and the senior management of Starlight Entertainment had revealed that they wanted to promote her to be the top sister of Starlight Entertainment. It was impossible that Han Zixuan didn't know this news. She must have hated her a long time ago. If Han Zixuan became popular again, given Han Zixuan's character, she would give her a lot of trouble. Su Tao secretly saw the change in Yin Yuyu's expression, and a smile rose from the bottom of his heart. However, he still wore a disappointed expression on his face, as if he was very lonely. He sighed. Poor Qin Shuang. She completely relied on Ningxi to rise to the top. Now that Ningxi is finished, I'm afraid she won't be able to keep it. Xiao Rou has also disappeared. Among the people I've managed, you're the only one who's still fine. Sometimes I think that maybe it was right for you to leave Golden Era. You can only blame me for being useless and not being able to get the best resources for you. If it were now, I would definitely be able to get the same resources for you as Ningxi. I'm talking nonsense again. It's all my fault. Just pretend that you didn't hear anything. The same resources as Ningxi. Yin Yuyu's eyes suddenly lit up at this moment. Chapter 2010. The current Golden Era was different from before. Even if Ningxi fell, Golden Era's current resources would not disappear. If she exposed that weakness and caused Han Zixuan to fall, even if Starlight wanted to ban her, if she could return to Golden Era, then she would not have to worry about anything. One should know that Ningxi's current resources were a few levels higher than Han Zixuan's when Starlight was at its peak. With Ningxi's fall, Golden Era would be without a leader. With her talent, as long as she returned, no one in Golden Era could compare to her. In order to avoid being suppressed by Starlight, Golden Era would definitely raise a new leader in the shortest time possible, and no one was more suitable than her. One by one, Yin Yuyu's longing kept appearing in her mind. Looking at Su Tao, who was sighing in front of her, a hint of greed flashed in her eyes, and a gentle smile suddenly appeared on her exquisitely made-up face. Brother Tao, it's not been easy for you during this period. I've always remembered how good you were to me in Golden Era. I'm only where I am today because of Golden Era's nurturing. I won't forget these things. Although we're not in the same company now, we can still keep in touch in the future. Our relationship is still there. Su Tao's heart was full of disdain, but there was a smile on his face. Yuyu, I'm satisfied with your words. It's getting late. You should go back first. Let's keep in touch in the future. Yin Yuyu confided in Su Tao again, then pretended to leave reluctantly. After returning, Yin Yuyu threw down her bag and rushed to the attic on the top floor of the villa. After locking the door with a bang, Yin Yuyu anxiously rummaged through the drawers and cabinets, and finally took out a safe from a secret compartment. Entering the password, Yin Yuyu took out a small silver USB flash drive from the safe. Yin Yuyu stared at the USB flash drive, the expression in her eyes changing. After a moment of hesitation, she held the USB flash drive tightly in her hand, her gaze becoming more and more sinister. Han Zixuan, you've been above me for so long, it's time to give up. On the other side, Su Tao hummed a song, swinging his car keys as he returned to the apartment. He took a refreshing shower, then wandered to the study room and turned on his computer. Because of the second video posted by Han Zixuan, the scolding of Ningxi had completely drowned out all other voices. Mistresses always attracted hatred, especially when Ning Xuelua was pregnant. In addition, Ning Xuelua's retirement from acting had something to do with Ning Shi. The discussion on the internet had become one-sided. A group of passers-by who didn't know the truth also joined the battle because of Ning Xuelua's weak image. Without strong evidence, it would be difficult for Ning Shi to reverse the situation. While Su Tao was leisurely browsing through the comments, he suddenly received a notification on the bottom right corner of his computer. Su Tao moved his mouse and clicked on it. After reading the content of the email, Su Tao's eyes suddenly lit up, and the corners of his mouth suddenly curled up. He thought that the earliest Yin Yu would make a move was the next morning. Who would have thought that he would be so impatient? It seemed that Yin Yu's hatred for Han Zixuan was no less than her hatred for Ning Shi. She must have been suppressed by Han Zixuan in Starlight. Actually, whether Yin Yu would take the bait or not depended on whether the bait was big enough. The bait he threw out this time was definitely big enough. There were 2 videos in the email. One was in the office, and the other one was in the nanny van. The degree of explosiveness was enough to make an experienced driver like him gasp in amazement. Gee, Yin Yu really didn't let him down. Chapter 2011. Overnight, Han Zixuan's scandal became the hottest news on the major websites, magazines, and newspapers. In just one day, Ning Shi's involvement in the gossip between Su Yan and Ning Xuelua was like an atomic bomb, shocking the whole entertainment circle. Hey, have you heard about Ning Shi? This was practically the first sentence that everyone in the circle would say when they met and greeted each other. Of course I have. Is there anyone who doesn't know about it? I didn't expect that Ning Shi and Su Yan would have such a relationship. I felt sorry for and admired Ning Shi, but it turns out that she is not a good person. I thought she got to where she is today by herself. She's just a prostitute. Don't insult a prostitute. She coveted someone else's boyfriend, and even asked Su Yan to kick his wife out of the company to make way for her. Besides, she knew Ning Xuelua was pregnant. This kind of person is disgusting. Ning Shi just got the role of the leading actress in The Killer. It's already halfway through the shooting. I don't think she can keep her leading actress role. Are you kidding? Leading actress? Does she still want to stay in the entertainment circle after this? She can forget about coming back in this life. By the way, will Han Zixuan make a comeback after Ning Shi falls? Who can she blame? She can only blame Ning Shi for her bad character and letting others seize the opportunity. Gee, the entertainment circle is going to change again. At a charity banquet, everyone was gathered in groups of 3 to 5 and chatting. Just as they were gossiping enthusiastically, someone suddenly looked towards the door in excitement. Look, Han Zixuan. Accompanied by her agent, Han Zixuan walked into the banquet hall in an elegant champagne-colored mermaid dress. Han Zixuan's appearance immediately attracted a large number of reporters. Everyone carried their weapons and surrounded Han Zixuan in an instant. A reporter asked, "Zixuan, what do you think about Ning Shi seducing a married woman?" A reporter asked, "Zixuan, why did you choose to expose this scandal?" Facing the reporter's question, Han Zixuan paused for a moment, and a faint disdain appeared on her exquisitely made-up face. "I have nothing to do with what happened to Ning Shi. However, Miss Ning Xuelua is both my superior and my friend. What I hate the most in my life is a third party who destroys other people's families. This time, I just couldn't stand it anymore. That's why I stepped forward." Reporter: "Zixuan, can you tell us about Miss Ning Xueluo's situation? She's pregnant now. Will this news affect her fetus in any way?" Han Zixuan didn't answer directly. Instead she said, "I believe this is a fatal blow to any woman. I only hope that, for the sake of the child, someone will stop before going too far and stop hurting innocent people." Zixuan. Han Zixuan did not continue to answer the latter questions, and quickly entered the banquet hall under the escort of the bodyguards. Yin Yu followed closely behind Han Zixuan, and stood not far away. She quietly watched as Han Zixuan was surrounded by a crowd of reporters. She listened to her righteous words and sneered in her heart. Continue to pretend. I'm afraid you won't pretend anymore. Chapter 2012. As soon as Han Zixuan entered the banquet hall, she was immediately surrounded by a large circle of artistes, who chatted with her warmly and warmly. After all, everyone knew that once Ningxi fell, the entertainment industry would become Han Zixuan's again. Zixuan, what you've done this time is simply too satisfying. I knew that Ningxi was not a decent person, but she's even more disgusting than we thought. If Zixuan hadn't stood up for us, who knows how long we would have been deceived by her. Han Zixuan was surrounded by a group of people talking at once. Facing everyone's compliments, she said with an aloof expression, "Everyone has their own ambitions. There's nothing that some people won't do in order to climb up. But what others do has nothing to do with me. I have my own principles and bottom line." Zixuan, how can you compare with that kind of person? No matter how high she climbs, she will be despised by others if she climbs up by such dirty means. The culture of the entertainment industry is led astray by her. Just then, a young artiste looked around and said excitedly, "By the way, I heard that Ningxi is also on the invitation list for tonight's charity banquet. Why haven't I seen her?" The people next to him immediately sneered. How dare she show up after such a scandal? Isn't she afraid of being drowned by everyone's saliva? She must be hiding at home and not daring to show up. Besides, our Zixuan is also here today. She must be hiding far away. While they were mocking each other, there was a sudden uproar at the entrance of the banquet hall. Everyone subconsciously looked in the direction of the entrance. In the next second, a stunning figure appeared under the flashes of the media. When the people around Han Zixuan saw the figure, they couldn't help but gasp. Ningxi, who was wearing a black evening gown, stood alone on the red carpet. Her flawless face attracted everyone's attention. Countless cameras were fixed on her at this moment, greedily capturing the alluring beauty of her every movement. The pure black set off her stunning face, like the black night sky set off thousands of stars, which was dazzling. To everyone's surprise, Ningxi was not absent. Instead, she arrived on time. She didn't even look as miserable and haggard as they had imagined. As soon as she appeared on the red carpet, she immediately won the hearts of all the female artists present. Han Zixuan looked at the reporters who were crazily taking photos of Ningxi. She looked at Ningxi's radiant face on the red carpet. Her eyes were filled with crazy jealousy. The female artistes around Han Zixuan took a long time to come back to their senses. Other than surprise, all of them had the same look in their eyes as Han Zixuan. "Ning, it's actually Ningxi. Oh my god. It really was her. How could she still have the cheek to come? If it were me, I might as well just bang my head against the wall and die. Bitches are so shameless. Is there anything she can't do?" Hearing the ridicule around her and thinking of Ningxi's future, Han Zixuan calmed down again. She watched calmly as Ningxi entered the venue and was immediately surrounded by a group of crazy reporters. "Miss Ningxi, do you have any explanation for the recent news about you on the internet? As for what Miss Ningxuelua said, is it true that you have always admired Mr. Su and pestered him? Is it true that you and Mr. Su had a late-night tryst in the video? Did you really intervene in the marriage between Mr. Su and Miss Ningxuelua?" Chapter 2013. Facing the ugly questions and the gloating eyes of the people around her, Ningxi remained calm. "Today is a charity party, not my personal press conference. If you have any questions, I will answer them one by one after the meeting. Now please don't disturb the order of the event. Thank you." Hearing Ningxi's answer, the people around were inevitably disappointed. However, Ningxi's answer was watertight, and the reporters couldn't refute it, so they had to be patient for the time being. Anyway, Ningxi had promised to be interviewed after the event and give them an explanation. This time, they finally got Ningxi, and they would never let go of this opportunity. Seeing that Ningxi actually dodged the question, the women around Han Zixuan sneered in a low voice. "She's still so stubborn. I'd like to see what she will say after the event is over. The evidence is irrefutable. She can't change the fact that she is a mistress who ruined a family and bullied a pregnant woman." Good evening, distinguished guests. The annual charity dinner now officially begins. Next, it's the auction that everyone is most looking forward to. Then, with the host's opening remarks, the auction of the charity dinner soon began. In the past, this was the most lively part of the event, but today everyone's attention was focused on one person. In the first row, Ningxi listened attentively to the auctioneer's explanation. From time to time, she discussed with the agent next to her and occasionally raised a sign to bid. She was so calm that she didn't look like someone who had just been involved in such a big storm and would be banned from the entertainment industry after tonight. In the corner, Han Zixuan glanced at Ningxi from the corner of her eyes and frowned slightly. Does she have a backup plan? Otherwise, how could she be so calm at this time? Zheng Anru sneered and said, "How is that possible?" Ning Shui said these words herself, and there's a video as evidence. If she really had a way, she would have jumped out long ago. Why would she wait until now? In my experience, her appearance today is Su Tao's last move. Su Tao must not have given up and wants to test the media's reaction. It's whimsical. Does she really think that she, a small agent, can reverse the situation? Cheating, taking drugs, and being involved in politics, as long as you are involved in any of these three things, you will die. There is absolutely no chance for you to make a comeback. Zixuan, don't worry. When Han Zixuan heard this, the corners of her mouth curled up in disdain. There was nothing for her to worry about. Even if she had to worry about what would happen next, it would be Ning Xuelua's problem. The reason why Ning Xi looked so indifferent was probably that Su Yan had promised her something in private. She probably hoped that if she couldn't survive in the entertainment industry, she would go to Su Yan. Now that this matter had been exposed, her reputation was completely ruined, and she could no longer stay in the entertainment industry. Even if Su Yan was head over heels for her, would the Su family allow her to marry into the family? Moreover, Ning Xuelua was there too. The Su family and Ning Xuelua would not let her go even if she did nothing. At this moment, Yin Yiyu was sitting quietly beside Han Zixuan. She agreed with Zheng Anru's words. Zixuan, Sister Anru is right. Ningxi is doomed this time. Then it's your turn, Han Zixuan. She really couldn't wait to see the scene of Ningxi and Han Zixuan tearing each other apart. Chapter 2014. It was only a short 2-hour auction, but everyone at the scene felt as if a day had passed like a year. In the end, even the auctioneer himself was a little absent-minded. The 3 confirmations became shorter and shorter, faster and faster, and he didn't even raise the price. Number 39, 5 million going once. Number 39, 5 million going twice. Number 39, 5 million going thrice. Sold. With a bang, almost everyone breathed a sigh of relief when the auction gavel fell. The last auction item of the night was finally sold. And this charity evening finally came to an end. Today's charity evening has come to a successful end. Thank you all for your contributions to charity. All the money from this auction will be used to help children with leukemia. Thank you. Thank you. With the host's concluding remarks, there was a burst of applause. However, after the applause, none of the guest journalists on the scene got up and left. Everyone looked in a certain direction with burning eyes. Han Zixuan wasn't in a hurry. She calmly watched from the side with the cold eyes of a bystander. She wanted to see clearly how the arrogant national goddess, the most popular female star, left the entertainment circle in disgrace in front of her. After the auction, before Ningxi stood up, the journalists who had been waiting for a long time couldn't wait to swarm up, as if they were afraid that Ningxi would run away. Miss Ningxi, can you answer our questions now? Ningxi, do you want to take this opportunity to clear your name by attending the charity evening today? Do you still want to stay in the entertainment circle after such a thing happened? You haven't said anything since it happened. Don't you have anything to say to the victim, Miss Ning Xuelua, and the fans who have been defending you? Even to your opponent, Miss Han Zixuan, your unfair competition is an insult to her. Ningxi looked coldly at the scene in front of her, and the corners of her mouth inadvertently curved into a sneer. Han Zixuan had been waiting for Ningxi to have nothing to say and slap herself in the face. Ningxi's silence at this moment made her feel that Ningxi's calmness was a forced facade. Han Zixuan narrowed her eyes and a vicious gleam flashed across her eyes. When no one could get an answer from Ningxi, she suddenly said, Ningxi, You just said that you would give everyone an answer after the event. I hope you can keep your promise and apologize to those who have been hurt. Since I've already interfered in this matter, I'll get involved to the end. Han Zixuan's voice was loud enough for everyone present to hear her clearly. Many people on the scene nodded in agreement. That's right. She's a reputable person in the entertainment industry. How could she not give an explanation after doing such a thing? That's too irresponsible. This kind of person doesn't even care about the most basic morality of being a human. What kind of responsibility do you expect her to take? No matter how good her acting skills are, her character is too bad. She is far worse than Han Zixuan on this point. I can only say that she was too good at pretending before. Now she can't pretend anymore, and even doesn't care about her face. After all, even if she can't stay in the entertainment circle, she can continue to fight for the position of the eldest young mistress of the Su family. Chapter 2015. Seeing Ningxi being despised and shameful by everyone, Han Zixuan's resentment for the past few days was finally vented. When she looked at Ningxi, she pretended to be disappointed and sighed. Ningxi, I respect you as a senior. I didn't want to do this, but I didn't expect that even now, you are still unwilling to face it and give everyone an explanation. Don't you think it's wrong for you to destroy other people's families and seduce a married man? It makes me sick to stand in the same hall with a third party like you. Han Zixuan stood on the moral high ground under the banner of seeking justice for Ning Xuelua. Every word she said was powerful. Even if her words were harsh, no one would think that there was anything wrong with it. Instead, many people agreed with her. Ningxi still sat in the same place, supporting her head with one hand. Looking at Han Zixuan's indignant and righteous posture, she suddenly raised the corners of her mouth into an intriguing smile. Her slightly raised eyes flashed with a touch of pity. You want an explanation? Then I'll give you an explanation. After Ningxi finished speaking, she turned her head and glanced at Su Tao next to her. Su Tao had long been anxious to the point of scratching his heart and lungs. Now that he had finally received the queen's instructions, he immediately flew up to the stage like a sparrow that had been released from its cage. Seeing Su Tao suddenly walk to the stage, everyone whispered to each other with a suspicious look. What trick does Su Tao want to play this time? Su Tao is the best at brainwashing his fans. Is he going to play the emotional card and say that Ningxi and Su Yan love each other? That's disgusting. Isn't he going to be a prostitute? Maybe he will directly announce his retirement from the entertainment industry? Below the stage, Han Zixuan and Zheng Anru watched Su Tao walk to the stage coldly. At the same time, all the reporters also pointed their cameras at Su Tao. Just then, Su Tao said something to the host, and then walked to the projector and fiddled with it for a while. Not long after, the big screen on the stage that had been turned off suddenly lit up again. Without any buffer. Without warning. A huge, indescribable, and extremely explosive video rushed into everyone's eyes, catching them off guard. Faster. Deeper. Deeper. Mr. E, you're the best. I want more. Cough, cough, cough. A reporter who was drinking water directly sprayed the back of the head of a reporter in front of him. Some female artists were so shocked that they dropped the small mirror in their hands. The host, who was watching the gossip on the side of the stage, was so shocked that his eyeballs almost popped out. Oh my God. It was simply unsightly. What was Su Tao doing? Is he crazy? Did I take the wrong USB flash drive? Su Tao's taste was a little heavy. You actually like such a slutty girl. Just as everyone was sneering with disdain, no one noticed that in the corner, Han Zixuan felt as though she had been struck by lightning. She stood there in a daze. As the ambiguous moans grew louder and louder, Han Zixuan's face quickly turned pale. The thick foundation on her cheeks could no longer hide her pale, almost green face. How could this be? Stop. Hurry up and stop. Han Zixuan's heart was filled with crazed roars, but when everyone was looking down on the man and woman in the video, it was as if all the blood in her body had frozen. A chill seeped out from the soles of her feet, almost freezing her limbs. She couldn't even make a sound. Turn it off. Hurry up and turn it off. However, the heavens didn't hear Han Zishuan's inner roar. In the next second, the camera on the big screen suddenly switched, and an extremely familiar face suddenly appeared in the video. Wearing sexy black lingerie, with big wavy hair and an expression of enjoyment on her face. It was Han Zishuan herself. And the man in the video was also recognized by everyone. It was the former general manager of Shengshi Entertainment, Yi Sudong. Chapter 2016. On the big screen, when her face appeared clearly in front of everyone, Han Zishuan's heart, which was suspended in the air, fiercely pounded on the ground. Her body shook violently, and her frightened face suddenly became blank. Other than the man's heavy breathing and the woman's moans, the conversation between the two was also unbearable, which made everyone's jaws drop. Ah, faster, faster. Don't stop. Mr. E, you're the best. Little bitch. Why are you so slutty? Then do you like me like this? Of course I like it. Then do you like me more? Or do you like your wife more? How can that fat woman compare to you? Don't mention that disgusting woman at this time. On the big screen, the video continued. The scale of the two in the video was comparable to that of a micro, which made everyone's jaw drop. No one would have thought that Han Zishuan, who had always walked the path of a cold goddess, would be so unbearably slutty in bed. Below the stage, everyone who had just recovered from the shock looked at each other, dumbfounded. Oh my God. Am I seeing things? The person in the video is it Han Zishuan? It's Han Zishuan and Yi Sudong. And they're doing it directly in Yi Sudong's office. Doesn't Yi Sudong have a wife? Not only does he have a wife, his child is old enough to buy soy sauce. Oh my God. I can't keep up with this anymore. What's going on? At this moment, the image changed and switched to another video. The scale of this video was no less than the previous one. The previous video was in the office, but this one was in the nanny car. The camera first flashed past the license plate number, then focused on the car. There was no one around, and the two took off each other's clothes while kissing, then climbed into the car together. Soon the car began to shake up and down. In the car, Han Zishuan's upper body was naked, and her lower body was pressed by Yi Sudong. The two's voices and conversation could be vaguely heard from the speaker. Sudong. Don't do this. What if someone sees us? Let's go to the hotel. What are you afraid of? Even if it was photographed, who would dare to expose me? Yi Sudong's eyes were cloudy with lust. He pinched Han Zishuan's slender waist and said in a rough voice, "Little bitch, let's change positions." Han Zishuan twisted her body like a water snake and said angrily, "No, you can't even do what you promised me. You said that I would debut this month?" Yi Sudong said proudly, "Ha, debut? You're underestimating me. That woman, Lin Jiji, is too ignorant and always goes against me. When I drive her out of the company, all the resources in Ningxi's hands will be yours. From now on, you'll be the most popular girl in our entertainment." Really? Han Zishuan's eyes suddenly lit up, and her eyes were full of naked ambition. Of course. You are so beautiful. You can totally imitate Ningxi and walk the same path as her. At that time, all her resources will be transferred to you. After the two videos were played, the big screen returned to darkness. The scene was dead silent. Not a sound could be heard. The sudden revelations, each more explosive than the last, smashed everyone until they were dizzy and disoriented. Han Zishuan felt as if she had fallen into an ice cave. Her entire body was cold, and an unprecedented despair engulfed her like a swamp. Her mind was blank. It was impossible. It was impossible. How did things turn out like this? It was over. This time, she was really done for. Under the stage, Ningxi glanced at Han Zishuan indifferently. Her languid eyes were filled with cold ice, and she said darkly, "Han Zishuan, are you satisfied with this explanation?" Chapter 2017. Before the previous wave subsided, another wave arose. No one had expected Su Tao to release something 100 times more explosive than what Han Zishuan had revealed. Even more unexpected was that in just a few minutes, Han Zixuan was stripped naked right after she finished speaking. Her secret was completely exposed to the public. After Ningxi retired, she replaced her position at the speed of light. She had been selling herself as the one and only and flaunting herself as the clean stream of the entertainment industry. The inspirational goddess Han Zixuan's real history was so brilliant that it was comparable to a melodramatic blockbuster. Today's trip was really worth it. It's an eye-opener. Yi Sudong has a wife. Han Zixuan is better than anyone else when it comes to selling her body and being a mistress. She can even fight for justice for Ningxi Luo with a righteous attitude. The funniest thing is that she said she hates mistresses who destroy other people's families the most. So she deliberately imitated Ningxi and snatched Ningxi's resources. She used Ningxi as a stepping stone to get to the top. She even said that she's one and only and that she doesn't want to be mentioned in the same breath as Ningxi. I've really learned something today. There's always a taller mountain. Her skin is as thick as a city wall. Who said that Han Zixuan's acting isn't as good as Ningxi's? Han Zixuan is the real best actress in the entertainment industry. At the same time, all the reporters left Ningxi's side and pounced on Han Zixuan. Miss Han Zixuan, is that you in the video? May I ask if you really seduced your married boss and used the unspoken rules to get to the top? Do you know that Yi Sudong already has a wife? You claim to be righteous, but you're doing what you say is shameful. What do you have to say about that? All the questions that were thrown at Ningxi earlier were now thrown back at Han Zixuan. Han Zixuan bit her lips hard. Her eyes were filled with madness and malice. She looked at Ningxi as if she wanted to skin her alive. She took a deep breath and used all her strength to force herself to calm down. She said with a clear conscience, "I don't know what you're talking about. The woman in the video isn't me." Zhang Amru hurriedly added, "Where did you find such a lowly 3 movie? How dare you impersonate our Zixuan? Ningxi, I'm going to sue you for defamation and infringement of reputation. Do you think you can clear your name by defaming Zixuan? You can't change the fact that you're filthy and lowly." Su Tao seemed to have expected that. He sneered and said, "Well, the video clearly shows that Han Zixuan and Yi Sudong had sex with each other in the office of Shengshi Entertainment, and in Han Zixuan's nanny car. Fingerprints are required to enter Shengshi Entertainment, not to mention Han Zixuan's private nanny car. How could they have impersonated her? Why don't you try impersonating one?" As Su Tao said that, several clear screenshots appeared on the big screen. One was Yi Sudong's office, the other was the license plate number of the nanny car, and the picture of Han Zixuan opening the door with the car key. The clear evidence once again ruthlessly slapped the two of them in the face. At this moment, everyone was looking at the two of them with extreme disdain. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.